Before any Formula One car can race around the circuit, they need to cut out sections of the track. But why do they do this?
But to understand all of this, it all begins with the timing device given by the official timekeeper, which for Formula One is Rolex. Now, the timing device is called a transponder, and here is an example of where the transponder can be. This is from the FIA regulations, and it can be either positioned A, B, or C. But from what I understand, every team has it in C. Now, these transponders are just looking after the timing beacons around the circuit, basically letting the team know what time you've reached a certain track all around. But if we go back to the FIA regulations, you'll see that we've got two other positions, in this case being A and B, and these are sitting either side of the driver's head, just outside of the headrest. So one of these is basically a GPS beacon. That way you can actually kind of accurately see where they are on circuit. Obviously it's not pinpoint accurate. This is the reason why you have a transponder just looking after the timings. The other one is identification beacon. It's mainly used as a backup. This is basically telling everyone out there, hey, this is Max Verstappen's car, this is Lando Norris's car, this is the safety car, this is a Formula 2 car. It's a backup identification beacon in case the timing loop transponder doesn't work anymore. Now, speaking of transponders, you need a proper setup at a racetrack for all of that data to actually work. And for that, at Formula 1 circuits, you're looking around 36 miles worth of fiber optic cables. And all of those fiber optic cables are not just transferring over data, but also video and audio signals from the camera positions, not only on the cars, but also around the track, and also back and forth with the marshal posts. It covers the whole thing. And so as there is so much information, to help send it back to Formula 1, they use 12 Trackside nodes. And here is where it gets decoded and sent to Formula 1, and it's up to Formula 1 then to distribute all of that data, video and audio signals to the FIA, to the teams, to broadcasters, to everyone. But we're getting a little bit ahead of ourselves here. I'm not making a video about how video and data stuff is going across. We're talking about timing and why people are putting wires into the racetrack and how is that kind of done. So let's explain then how the timing loop signal actually works. It kind of is very similar to when you see traffic counter systems out on the public road, except with the timing loops that are actually done into the circuit. So at a typical Formula 1 circuit, you'll have around about 30 timing loops, which includes the pit entry and pit exit. And what they do is literally cut a straight line into the circuit about 1 centimeter deep, which covers the full width of the track. In this space, they lay down the timing loop cable, which you can imagine it basically being a large aerial, and then cover the top of it with black silicone. And it's as simple as the timing transponder within the car going over this line, and then the line will register it with its own unique number. And this is not just the case for Formula 1, it's the same for Formula 2, other support series, and even the medical and safety car. And obviously with the timing loop line, it's just picking up the timing transponder. For the GPS and identification beacon, as well as the onboard footage, that's all been sent with aerials all around the circuit from a Wi-Fi system. All done with slightly different frequencies, so there's no overlap. And all of these trackside systems work off their own power supply. So you might have heard that a few weeks ago, the FIA actually lost power to their trackside CCTV cameras. And this is the reason why they do it, because in the unlikely case where they do have a power outage, the racing can still carry on if they just use the broadcast cameras and still have the working timing transponders. But here's a fun little extra fact about the timing transponders. Well, it might not be fun, I just find this really enjoyable. But these timing transponders are also what help determine if someone has done a jump start. Now, in the grid boxes on a Formula 1 racetrack, you'll find all of these little metal holes, and as you can see, these are positioned on the C position that we were talking about. That C position in the middle there, what we were talking about earlier. So these are lined up kind of dead center in the grid boxes. So when all of the Formula 1 teams are coming onto the grid, these holes are filled with a beacon. Right, I'm going to try to attempt to visually show you what I'm trying to explain here with the beacon being detected. I'm a visual learner, so hopefully we can do this with an old coffee filter. Right, so you've got the racetrack, right? You put down the timing beacon in the grid box, Formula 1 cars on top of it, right? So the timing beacon is sending out this funnel shape kind of detection, and that's going to pick up the timing transponder within the car. So here you've got a little bit of moveway, but as soon as you go too far out of that detection, then it's classed as a jump start. And so this is the reason why we've seen people get away with it before, because they've been within this little detection zone. But as soon as you get away from it, therefore you can get a jump start. So if you think about it, really, if your timing transponder isn't working, you can jump start and you won't get penalized for it. And these beacons aren't just used on the grid, they're also used in the pit stops as well. And this is how we get the graphic of where we see the time of how long the pit stop has taken. It's using the exact same thing of picking up the timing transponder, and as soon as it left the detection, then that's how quickly they've done it. Now, depending on the circuit, these are spaced out around every 200 meters or so, the timing loop lines, and these are what make up the mini sectors. And they are very well camouflaged, but if you do spot one, you do then start to spot all the rest of them.
Now, some of you might have noticed I'm out here at a Formula One race, specifically the Hungarian Grand Prix, and that's all thanks to today's sponsor, Head Out. They're waving right behind me, aren't they?
If you've ever been put off buying Formula One tickets as sometimes you have to wait in a digital queue or see that there isn't many options left, Head Out makes this process so easy for you. They give you the best prices and in some cases even more availability than what the original circuit is actually offering themselves. And in my case, I got to go to the Hungarian Grand Prix for 2 tickets on the start line, and that's something I wouldn't be able to do without Head Out. And really importantly, if you go to the link in the description and use my promo code MATTAMUS, you'll get 30% off race tickets for the Italian, Dutch, and the Austin Grand Prix. So make sure to click the link in the description below. Thanks to Head Out for sponsoring this video. And if you're new here, make sure to click subscribe, and I'll see you next time.